Well, after Tuesday's game against the Kraken, they have another, I guess, phenomenon coming to town in this way of another weather pattern. The thing is, though, are they going to survive or are they going to get buried in an avalanche?
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everydayer for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm the credentialed Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Writers. I am the co-host of the Surgecast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Got a fun show for you guys today. Got a really great special guest. But before we jump into all of that today, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Now on today's show, I got my special guest with me is Bailey Curtis. She is the credentialed beat writer for the Colorado Avalanche at the Hockey News, and we're going to be going over the Avalanche since the last time we met those guys back in November. Also going to preview the game as well between the Colorado Avalanche and your Hurricanes for the last meeting of the season. Hopefully, maybe with the playoffs we'll see them. Who knows? And then we're also going to do keys to the game and players to watch. And I'm just excited to have her back on. We had her on last month. Now she's back once again in a bigger role on, showing up on fancy hockey for ESPN and all that good stuff. But Bailey, how are you doing? And thank you for coming on again.
What an introduction. Yeah, just found out about the fantasy hockey thing last night.
Congratulations.
That was pretty wild. Yeah,
that's right.
I was talking with some of my friends and they were like, that's how you know you've made it big. I don't know if I'm quite there yet, but I appreciate the introduction. Excited to be back on.
I mean, hey, it's pretty impressive. Because I know about a couple other guys have pulled it off at the Hockey Writers. I haven't yet, but for you to be on there, hey, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So congratulations, friend. So the last time we talked was, I think, November 7th. So right around the last time the two teams faced off when the second period of that game didn't go so well. Hurricanes lost 6-4 to the Avalanche because they decided to put up 5 goals in that period. Sounds like it's a nice normal trend. If you guys do hear some extra audio in the background, just so you know, Bailey is at the Denver airport. She's on her way to Raleigh to cover the game in person. So, we get to go to Morningsgate on Thursday and go to that's out all day Thursday. But of course, she has to get here, so she's at the Denver airport right now. So if you hear some extra noise, that's what's going on. If you're on the YouTube
season's motto was cause chaos. I'm causing chaos today. So there we go.
Apparently so. But I do appreciate you taking time because I know it's kind of crazy trying having to travel and stuff like that. So but the last time we talked, your Avalanche we're kind of struggling. Still kind of struggling now, but they did have a big comeback win on Tuesday, coming back from 4-0 down to the Sabres after it was at 4-0 after the first, 1-5-4. I know it's a little crazy over there in Buffalo right now, but give us an update. How are the Colorado Avalanche doing since our last meeting, not even 30 days ago?
So still drowning in injuries, which is unfortunate. We're seeing a new goalie tandem since the last time the Hurricanes faced off against the Avalanche. The Avalanche just recently acquired Scott Wedgwood from
big win for
Nashville.
Him. Yeah. Great win for him in his debut. Get in there.
So I had talked to Bednar on Saturday, and he had mentioned that there was concrete plans to see Wedgwood at some point this week. There just wasn't an idea. We didn't have an idea of when.
Right.
Imagine that this was not the first start that Bednar wanted to see from Wedgwood.
Probably not. Probably not when you're down 4-0 after the first, and Georgiev is turning
4
into
goals
Civ City.
8 shots allowed from Alexander Georgiev within the first 12 minutes of the first period. So
that might be a little bit of a problem when you're already Swiss cheese 12 minutes in.
So Alexander Georgiev has still been a big question mark in the net for the Avalanche. Still drowning in injuries. Got Duran back, and then automatically, all of a sudden, a couple games later, lost him again. He is week to week. So still drowning in injuries. The goaltending tandem is going to be a little bit of an interesting question mark during this game against the Hurricanes as well. But they're coming off of a 4-3 5-4 comeback win against the Buffalo Sabres, which is exciting because being down and then coming back. So they're going to have some hot momentum coming into this game against the Canes as well.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing that the Hurricanes are kind of fearing right now for the fact that you look at the last 2 games for them. And we'll go over a little bit more in the preview, but man, you get 2 shots in the period, back-to-back games. Again, Florida got 2 in the second. I think it was the last period, and then they got 2 in the second against the Kraken. With the Colorado Avalanche, I mean, I even said it on Wednesday's show. Like, if you play like that in the first 40 minutes, against like you did against the Kraken, you do it against the Avalanche. All that 2-1 is going to look like nothing compared to Colorado if you give them that many opportunities and you're not putting shots on the net, especially with how the goaltending is right now for Colorado. Like,
you give them an inch and they will take a mile. Especially with a hot Nathan McKinnon who scored his first 2 goals since the beginning of November, which is huge for him. He's been on a big goal drought lately. He's racked up a couple assists, but he's been a little frustrated lately too. So McKinnon's been ramping it up, and so that's a guy you don't want to give space to move around, especially in the defensive zone too, because he will make you look bad put it bluntly.
Yeah, and also Cal McCarr, who could basically make anyone look silly too with his moves, and of course we talk about Kovalenko is a scary guy to watch out for. He's a very underrated player to watch out for.
Scored the first goal in the Avalanche's comeback win last night or on Tuesday.
Of course he did. I think it's like back-to-back games he's gotten a goal already, or somewhere close to that for the Avalanche. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like if you got to survive, you got to watch out for the Avalanche that's coming for you. And I'm very speaking much pun intended because we saw what happened, Bailey. Last time these 2 teams met, it was an Avalanche in the second period, and that was led by a bunch of different guys. And now it's the same thing. It's like you can't go 7 shots in the period in 2 periods against the Kraken and then be like, okay, let's ramp it up for Colorado. It's like Rod said it too. It's like it's one of those things where a lot of guys need to step up. The first 40 minutes weren't great. Yeah, they kind of picked it up, but it's like you can't do that. You can't do that in the NHL where you kind of just almost cardio it for 2 periods.
No, it's so. The Avalanche have been notorious for their slow starts this season too. And so that last game against the Hurricanes was kind of a textbook game for the Avalanche. Slow first period, ramp it up during the second. And then
we were looking good.
Yeah, maybe
he was looking good.
So that was a textbook Colorado Avalanche game. They've kind of been a little spotty, started trying to find faster starts, which the results of the game don't always turn out better, but it's nice to see them not slugging in the first period as opposed to, business as usual, unfortunately for them. So last game was a bit of a fun one for Avalanche fans, definitely seeing that 5-goal onslaught during the second period. You saw the Hurricanes, they had a really hot start during that game as well. What was it? 2 goals, 1 goal during the first period.
It was 2-0 after the first, and then it was just either 1-0 or 2-0. It was one of the 2. I know it was.
I just had it pulled up.
And the fact that then it was just a 5-goal onslaught by the Avalanche.
So one goal from Jack Drury during the first. Jordan Martinook opened up scoring during the second, and Martin Necas got a goal during the second as well. But by that point, the Avalanche were already kind of on their comeback, getting ready to go. Which didn't really expect that start from the Hurricanes either, given the weather and travel situation that they kind of ran into. That's the weird thing. Morning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they get there that morning. They're up 2-0. You're kind of like, oh. Okay, maybe the weather isn't that big of a deal. Then, like you said,
just kind of the brakes beat off of them to put it bluntly.
Like you said, give Colorado an inch. They took a mile, and they took a mile-high whooping on the Hurricanes, and you're hoping they're coming.
Nice one.
Thanks. Hey, you gotta laugh through the pain sometimes. But they're coming to Tobacco Road. They're coming to the Triangle. Maybe there's some home cooking that the Hurricanes will have. Maybe get a little extra zing in the barbecue. I don't know. Maybe the extra vinegar, something to get this team going. Because you can't have a start like that like I said, with the Kraken, especially Florida, and then hopefully you got to figure out how to turn it around against Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Hurricanes, they do have a a different goalie tandem as well compared to what Colorado's doing. Dustin Tokarski got recalled from Chicago. Great to see Tick is up. It'd be interesting to see who the Hurricanes roll with because they had Kochekov last game. I think with the day off, maybe we'll see him again. But let's save that for the preview. So guys, stick around as we will actually jump into said preview here in a second on a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes. And we talked about at the end of segment 1, we're about ready to preview the game that's coming up for the Colorado Avalanche against your Carolina Hurricanes. But we have some breaking news real quick, though, guys. Seth Jarvis made Team Canada and Jacob Slavin made Team USA. There were some speculations on if both those guys would make the team. We know Sebastian Aho made it for Team Finland. That was announced, earlier in the season. But then, just tonight we saw that, Seth Jarvis did make it for Canada and Jacob Slavin makes for Team USA. So, Bailey, you're going to love to see that. We get 3 Hurricanes at the 4 Nations. And for Jarvis to make a tough Canada team and Jacob Slavin, that should be automatic for USA. But to get Jarvie for Canada, how can you not be excited for that kid?
I'm going to step into my Hurricane shoes a little bit and express some excitement here. No,
yes,
it's really cool to see Jarvis, who's really kind of come through some adversity in the last season and a half. If you want to call this,
even this season
like a half.
This season missing so many games with his shoulder.
What we assume is another re-aggravation of the shoulder. Just dealing with all of that and still kind of prevailing, being a really, really impressive player. So to see that addition for the Hurricanes is automatically huge. Like you said, Slavin was, I think, kind of a shoe-in for this.
A lot of people predicted he wasn't going to make it. I'm like, if you don't put Jacob Slavin in, I don't know what we're doing here. Like, how do you not have that guy in?
No, that for me, he was a shoe-in, and that's not just coming from a biased Hurricane standpoint. It's coming from this guy is one of the, if not the best defenseman in the league.
Yeah, 100%. If he didn't,
you might see him playing some third pair minutes, but that's just because you have a lot of offensive production. Coming into that Team USA on the blue line. So
Team USA. There's a lot of good defensemen on that side. Of course, Jarvis making Team Canada. it doesn't matter where he plays. Even if it's like just for him making it, it's awesome because that Canada team is also going to be very stacked as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you got, like I said, you got Sebastian Aho for Finland, Jacob Slavin for USA, and Seth Jarvis for Canada. Oh, also former Hurricane Teuvo Teravainen for Finland and Elias Lindholm for Team Sweden. So there you go. So we got some former Canes and current Canes.
We see the Sebastian Aho Teuvo Teravainen reunion for any of those kind of sentimental Canes fans. It's a nice little reunion to
and a nice little hey, what's going on type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's practice on Wednesday for the Hurricanes, so these are the lines that they were kind of throwing out. Now, take it as you will for who was in the starter crease. When you talk to Walruff and other guys, practice days on a non-game day, take it as you will. It's different if it's like a morning skate. So they have Svechnikov, Aho, Roslovic. Kind of no surprise there. Robinson, Drury, Nishis for the second line. Martin Extol, Jarvis, Carrier, Kotkaniemi, Blake. And then, of course, you got Slavin Burns, Orlov Chatfield, Gostisbehere Walker, and then, of course, Pierre Kochekov is back, like we talked about on the other episode. And then, like I said, just a little bit ago in segment 1, Dustin Tokarski got the recall with Spencer Martin going back to Chicago. Bailey, initial thoughts. For me, it's just like you have 2/3 of the original line back together of Robinson and Nietzsche without Kakaniemi, though. I'm still kind of perplexed of why he's still not back on that second line with those guys, because you saw how good they were together as a group. I know he had one bad game where we do a couple costly turnovers, but that's kind of brutal for the fact that he's still that low, I guess. But I mean, credit to Jack Drury, though. His faceoffs have been absolutely huge the last couple of games. So
not only faceoffs too, but unfortunately with that called back goal during which
trust me.
I haven't listened to your rant yet, but I've got to go listen to that.
Trust me, yeah.
Just looking at that sharp angle shot, you can see he's got so much more confidence in the deep end of his zone. Which is really, really exciting to see from somebody who is considered to be your fourth line center. So
he is very much stepping up, and I know a lot of people are like, well, he's not really. He's like, is he okay for a second line? Maybe, we're not really sure. I mean, he's doing the work. He's like you said, he's scoring goals when they count. Face-off percent when his face-off when he's winning a lot of face-offs, he's doing all the right things. So I can see why Rod's like, hey, you're playing great. Let's put you on the second line. And honestly, those three they weren't bad together either. Of Robinson, Drury, Nietzsche, I guess. Because people are out, because I know it's because Kay Bartlett, big shout out to her for all of her questions, big Avs Canes fan. She asked, like, what kind of reset would you do to the forward line? I'm like, you got to get those three back together, meaning KK, Robinson, and Nietzsche. But at the same time, it's like, I would love to see those three back together because you saw early in the season how great they were working out. But Drury has been doing well. Those guys worked well together. So I guess we'll. This question has been creeping up a lot from a lot of people I've been noticing, and I want to get your thoughts on this.
Okay.
Andrei Svechnikov. Do we start having cause for concern of every line he's been on? Somehow it's a struggle. I mean, you can kind of see it in the games. In licks, maybe too, but like, what are your do you see that as well? Or is it kind of like, it's just one of those struggle things right now. Just not just him, but overall, it's just the team struggle.
Unfortunately, it's a little hard for me, given that I haven't watched as many Canes games as I would like to have this year.
Right. When I
do, no, Svechnikov, I will stand by this till the day I die, is one of my favorite Carolina Hurricanes to watch. I love watching the physicality that he brings to the game, the excitement that he brings. He gets feisty in the ozone. He knows how to bully players off the puck. And even though he's not exactly producing, nor are his line mates, he's still producing, I think, a lot of excitement and energy for the other lines that are coming onto the ice as well, and kind of creating a more fun environment to play in. So while I think there maybe are, I wouldn't sound the sirens just yet on Andrei.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm just getting your thoughts, like what because I've been seeing it around. I've been seeing a lot of kind of like I get maybe, but I'm not really like bought
if we're talking on a cause for concern meter, he's probably at about a yellow, low to mid kind of.
Yeah, it's like
because you do also have to think about, yes, every single line that he is put on is struggling and is kind of failing to produce on the same level that maybe some other lines are producing. But look at how much Rod Brind'Amour is changing around the lines in general.
Yeah, the Rod Brind'Amour effect is in full swing. That's true. I just want to get your thoughts on that because it's very interesting. Because I've been seeing it a lot. I don't really see it maybe in the game you might see a little bit of something, but it's like you said, it's not a huge concern. But it's more of like maybe want to keep an eye on this. Just in case.
No, definitely something to keep an eye on. I don't think it's Svech is washed, like he's signed for a couple more years. Like
we're not saying
are
that.
We going to see a couple more years of this? Like it's not a
no, it's nothing like that. Yeah, it's more like
Yeah, like I'd love to see him get on a consistent line. Same thing while we're talking about the KK Robinson nature.
I
would love to see them back together because they were really successful when they were on the same line. But Rod Brind'Amour's trying to find a spark. He's trying to find things that work, and he's trying to create that versatility that he got out of rosters in past seasons. Right. It's not looking to be as successful this season, which is a little unfortunate to see for this team. Right. But I appreciate the effort to try and get that back.
Right, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we know the lines for the Kings going into it. It's going to be very interesting to see how that works out. I know when you look at the actual stats, I know I've done this a lot. I'm not gonna really harp on this very much because obviously these don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
The Hurricanes goals against per now now 11th in the league at 2.92. They've been pretty much top 3. Colorado's power play is absolutely insane at 6th. Carolina's 4th. It's one of those things where it's just right now Hurricanes are 3.72 goals per game, which is 3rd. Colorado's 3.27 and 10th. I mean, so going into the game, like what's kind of like for you? What are we really looking at for the Avalanche in terms of the fact that you said they had a big win on Tuesday? They're still scoring a lot of goals. The power play is amazing as always. Goaltending is still kind of an issue. Like, what's kind of like the one thing that looking at the lines, because we know the Avalanche have morning skate on Thursday before the game. Like, what are you kind of keying in on right now with the Avalanche coming into this game against Carolina?
I'm going to look for Nathan MacKinnon to keep up the momentum from yesterday's game because that's going to be huge for this team, getting that production from Nathan MacKinnon back. Also looking for Cale Makar to take a bigger step than he did on Tuesday as well. He had a bit of a slumpy game, if you want to call it that.
That's kind of surprising for someone like him.
Yeah, did not have a single assist on any of the 5 goals, which is a little... talk about cause for concern. Maybe not cause for concern for Cale Makar. He has these games every couple stretches, things like that. So looking for Cale Makar to have a better game than he did on Tuesday. And then that 3rd and 4th line, the bottom 6 are going to be huge in a win against the Hurricanes. They've been some of the best in terms of production, according to Jared Bednar. He's loved the way this team, especially the bottom 6, have produced. And the bottom 6 it's comprised of mainly guys who have come in as relief for a lot of the top 6 injuries that the Avalanche are dealing with too. So it's really exciting to see them doing as well as they are too. And then, finally, while we're talking about the entire ice, it seems starting goaltender is going to be huge because it seems like, at least on Tuesday, when Wedgwood came in for relief for Georgiev, it seemed like the team's timidness that was there the first 12 minutes of the period almost kind of washed away. They seemed a lot less timid in front of Wedgwood, and it seemed like they were playing more of like a Colorado Avalanche game in the way it should look.
I'm curious to see. Maybe they're just worried because maybe there's like that creeping of like doubt and like, maybe Georgiev is not that guy.
No, there's been a lot of cause for concern. Talk about a blazing siren within the Avs community for Alexander Georgiev and the way that he's played, not only to begin the season. He's had a couple of situations where he started to find his game a little bit, and he almost looked a little bit more confident in that. That's kind of starting to go back down the drain a little bit for him. And
just a little bit, yeah.
You see the Avalanche try to fix the backup tending situation with Justus Annunen, which wishing him the best of luck in Nashville. But he was a kind of situation where he was playing really well against non-conference rivals. But once you got against those bigger, more important teams and more important matchups, that's where he kind of fell apart. And so they fixed the backup tending situation. I love the addition of Wedgwood. Yeah. Now there's a question of what do you do about the starting tender situation too, and do you do anything to fix that? And so seeing who's going to start in tomorrow's game is going to be a big key, I think, to the Avalanche's success against the Hurricanes. And seeing it, I think that's just going to kind of set the tone from there.
Yeah, I know, 100%. And I'm curious because I know we haven't got any lines yet. I know morning skate because I know we're both going to be there. It's going to be very interesting to see what the lines look like and who's going to be in the starter crease because that's one of the bigger factors as well. And talking about lines and talking about guys in net, we got to talk about keys of the game and players to watch. So guys, stick around as we're going to do that here in a second on a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes. Bailey. I mean, we're at the part now where it's like, what's keys to the game, players to watch. So we're going to do players to watch first. Give me 1 or 2 Avalanche that we need to keep an eye on going into this game. on Thursday.
Players who are known to start. I'm going to give you Nathan McKinnon and Nikolai Kovalenko, who again
I love Kovalenko. I love Kovalenko's game. Like, he is so underrated. He's so underrated.
He's been an incredible addition to this team. He's really come a long way from training camp and from his play that we saw towards the end of last season too. And so to see him writing 2 opening goals in 2 games straight for the Avalanche is going to be huge. So we're looking for another goal from him tonight.
Right.
Nathan McKinnon, again, just restating what I said earlier, he's starting to find that goal presence again. Bednar has said he's been doing a lot. He's been doing a lot in terms of managing things on the ice. And so maybe we're not seeing as much production from him, and we're looking for him to get that back.
Yeah, no, 100% for sure. And I mean, for me, guys to watch, I mean, obviously the big one, Martin Necas, 2 more points, could have gotten 3, but he's right now tied with Kirill Kaprizov at the top of the NHL leaderboard. He had if that jury goal counted, that would have been point number 40. But you know what? He set another franchise record for most points in 25 games, 2 more than Eric Stahl. They even compared him to like the last time a guy had this many, a Czech player having this many points at this point of the season was Jaromir Jagr when he was with the Penguins initially. So
that's a stat.
Yeah, that is some great company. Well, of course, he was like 52, I believe. But I mean, it's Jaromir Jagr and like
2's a company, 3's a crowd. So that's
exactly.
Great stat news for our teenagers.
Hey, that's some great company if you're compared to someone like Jaromir Jagr. So obviously, multi-point game once again. I mean, right now he's the guy to watch for the Hurricanes as of right now. Probably one of their most consistent players. So loving what he's doing. That great goal on the power play, obviously amazing. You kind of wish that one for Jack counted, but also great pass to Eric Robinson for the opening goal. So you love to see that. For me, another player to watch. I mean, who do you pick on this roster right now? I mean, right now it seems like. Honestly, Jordan Martinook, he's probably one of the most underrated guys right now for the Hurricanes just because of the fact of, I think the last time he's got 6 goals already. He was on that really hot start at the end of November. So I think he's someone who's done all the right things that maybe aren't showing him on the score sheet outside of him actually scoring goals. But he's someone who's really motored a lot this year. And I think he's done a really good job with, of course, him and, Jordan Stahl. So, I mean, I think I would watch for Martinook to do a little something tonight against the Avalanche. Very interesting to say.
I will stand by this, and I said this earlier in the season too. Martinook has not disappointed me yet with his neutral zone play. His neutral zone presence, especially with that entire line too, and doing what he does to be a member of the line for this team is nothing short of impressive too. His neutral zone play is unmatched when it comes to that entire roster.
Yeah, something about a guy nicknamed Marty is somehow working out for the Hurricanes.
Right.
Martin, Marty from Martinook and Marty from Martin Necas, and even Necas too. Like his defensive play's gotten better. His on the puck has been a lot better too. So yeah, Martin Necas has taken that next step, and Shane and Mike talked about it. Just something about the maturity in his game has gotten so much better over the summer. So you love to see it. Now, give me your 2 keys to the game for the Colorado Avalanche. If there's any that for them to come, we're hoping that they don't win, but for the talking about it, what are your keys for the Avalanche?
First key of this game, speaking of keys, unlock this game early. Slow starts have been the kind of name of the game for the Colorado Avalanche. There you go. There's my pun of the day. No, the slow starts have been the name of the game for the Colorado Avalanche too. And they've kind of started to find that in a couple of games, like I mentioned earlier. I would love to see them get an early start against this Hurricanes team today, since the Hurricanes were the ones that got the jump on them last time. Would love to see them recreate that on the other end of things to kind of get an early jump on the Hurricanes and find that momentum early before they have to find it. And they only have 40 minutes to find it from the end of the first.
Yeah.
Second key of the game. Sorry, I forgot we're doing 2. Second key of the game again is contributions from all 4 lines. That's really going to be my big thing, and they've been finding that a lot recently. But a lot of that firepower has been coming from the fourth line and the first line. And the first line's kind of started to take a role where they're kind of managing everything on the time. Obviously, you're seeing them get the most ice time out of any of the four lines for the Avalanche. And I would love to see, with that much more ice time, being able to contribute down all four lines and finding that depth, getting contributions from defense and finding guys like Cale Makar and getting him to find the net instead of just playing a defensive game against what could be a very hot, pissed off Hurricanes team.
No, yeah, 100%. Well, you're talking about a team that might be mad. Come out the gates hot. You cannot go 40 minutes with 9 shots. You can't do that. You did it against the Kraken. You did it against the Florida Panthers. You definitely can't do it against the Colorado Avalanche. So if you want to try to avoid getting caught in a snowstorm, you got to be off the jump, ready to go. We have to see Carolina Hurricanes hockey if they're putting shots on net. They're not playing timid. They're not playing whatever. I don't know what Tuesday was. That was an absolute weird game from start to finish. So yeah, you gotta get a jump, because if you start like that against Colorado, it's gonna be a lot worse than 2-1. That's for sure. And I mean, special teams. I would say special teams. Their special teams was great. I would just say it's just stay structured, play your game. You got to get back to simplifying your game and make it work, because right now what they got out of their game, they got out of their mojo right from the rip, and it just didn't work. So it just goes into having a faster start, play a more structured game. You gotta just play better defense. You gotta get transition better, defense to offense. You guys gotta make everything work. So it'll be very interesting to see for sure. But guys, that will do a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Big thank you to Bailey for joining me today. Thank you for making this your first listen. If you want to have a second listen, check out Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Get tips from Steal and Flip and how to become better fantasy hockey managers. You can check them out on YouTube and all podcast platforms. But before we let you go, Bailey, where can people find you in your amazing writing?
You can find me over on X at Bailey Curtis, and that is Bailey with 2 Y's. Find me over on the Hockey News. I am the Hockey News Colorado Avalanche beat writer. Super excited to be covering my first away game for the Colorado Avalanche. Cannot wait. Find my articles over on the Hockey News Colorado Avalanche site. If you're interested in some of my more personal stuff, you can find me over on Instagram at Bailey Lynn Curtis.
Yes. And also, if you do want to check out her Hurricane stuff, well, check out the Searchcast with me. Now, if you want to check out, keep up with what I'm doing, once you're Zach on X, podcast _Hurricanes. I am on Blue Sky at the Zachary Martin. So check me out over there as well. I've been trying to keep up posting on both sites pretty evenly. I do have link trees on both of those sites as well. If you want to check out all my articles at the Hockey Writers, or just go to thehockeywriters.com, look up my author page at Zach Martin. You can find all my stuff over there. If you want to check out the Searchcast, well, YouTube and all podcast platforms. For this show, well, Locked On Hurricanes, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating review, because if you do, I might just read on the show. On YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave the thumbs up button, let me know if you like the show as well. In the comments, who are your players to watch in the game for the Hurricanes against the Colorado Avalanche? Share it with all their King X. They become everydayers just like you. But hope everyone enjoyed this Thursday episode of Locked On Hurricanes. Once again, big thank you to Bailey Curtis for joining me once again. Hope everyone enjoys the Thursday night game watching your Hurricanes against Colorado Avalanche. Hopefully a lot better result than last time. And until then, as always, let's go Canes.